It's Monday, July 8th, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On today's show, we take a deep dive into funding wastewater projects, learn more about the Vineyard Wind Project, and save energy and money with Cape Light Compact. Now for a look at municipal and legislative notes. It is with a heavy heart that the Barnstable Police Department announced the sudden and unexpected loss of Sergeant Jason Sturgis on Saturday night. Sergeant Sturgis was a 19-year veteran of the department and had previously been assigned to the Community Impact Unit before returning to the Patrol Division. Sergeant Sturgis touched many lives both at the BPD and out in his community. He was greatly respected and will be sorely missed by all that had the pleasure of knowing him. Channel 18 will bring you more details as they become available. The draft plan for the comprehensive wastewater program was delivered to Town Council last month, and the final plan is scheduled to be delivered to the state by this fall. We take a deep dive with Finance Director Mark MILNE on how the town is allocating resources and equity for sewer and alternative solutions. Comprehensive wastewater management plan, it's actually starting to come together. With me today, Mark MILNE, Director of Finance. That's the big question out there. We know some of the work that has to be done, sewering, there's some alternative things that we're also doing that are taking care of some of the wastewater issues and challenges that the town faces, but we're almost ready to start.
Yes, a couple weeks ago the council approved the first big project as part of this plan, and that was the $8.5 million to put in some sewer lines and a pump station along the same route that Vineyard Wind's taking to put in their cabling, and so that presented an opportunity for us to get into the road at the same time that they're going to be in, which will save us close to $3 million of project cost since the road's going to be open. So yeah, we're hitting the ground. The shovels will be in the ground in the near future, and as we go forward, there'll be a lot of financial decisions to be made.
All right. So the plan will be filed with the state late summer, early fall. That's got to be done first, is to do that. And then you talk about opportunities and inputs that you're looking at. The plan calls for 60 years. What really is the town going to focus on? That first 20 years?
Yeah, we're focusing on the first 20 years right now, trying to project out what's going to happen with changes in technology and where costs are going to go, like construction, inflationary costs on construction, and things like that. It's an exercise that's probably not worth spending a lot of time on. So we're trying to focus on the first 20 years and what we can reasonably project over that period of time. As part of that plan that needs to be submitted this fall, we have to include a section that provides information on how we're going to finance this. And we've been accumulating resources for this in anticipation of this day coming. As you know, we have a special revenue fund that we've established, which we dedicate all of our local meals tax. We dedicate a third of our rooms tax. We have the short-term rental tax kicking in as of July 1st. We don't know what that's going to generate yet. And we also have the Cape and Islands Water Protection Fund, which will just be starting as well as July 1st. So we have a number of financial resources that we've identified, and that's going to help us with kind of similar to what the State Revolving Loan Fund does. We're going to use this as a working capital kind of fund that will provide us some, allow us to carry the cost of some of the debt service associated with some of these construction projects until things like assessments come in and the rooms taxes come in, and helps pay that debt service back that we issue to fund the construction costs.
Right. And you mentioned the Vineyard Wind Project. We've done a number of segments on Vineyard Wind where we know that they're going to open up the roads, and by being able to lay our pipe at the same time, people don't understand that that's a cost right off the front. That $3 million is a significant savings.
Yeah, yes, it is. And you really, you know, once you go into a road like that, you don't want to open it back up for a number of years.
Right.
And so, yeah. As we go through this plan, there'll be other opportunities, hopefully, like that. We'll be able to get in at the same time as other utilities and which will provide savings along throughout this program if we can identify those opportunities.
Right. So what do you have for other inputs? I mean, you've mentioned some of the funds that would be available through local rooms tax and things like that, but directly related to the resident, what's in the horizon for us?
Well, there's a lot of things we have to take into consideration when trying to determine what the cost of the homeowner is going to be in this plan. For example, as I mentioned earlier, where are construction costs going to go? Are those going to continue to climb as we've seen over the last few years with an improving economy? Where is innovative technology going to bring us? And will that allow us to implement alternative solutions as opposed to putting pipe in the ground, for example, saving us cost potentially in that area? We're a housing choice community, which allows us to borrow from the state revolving loan fund at 1.5%.
Wow.
And so where, of all of our project costs that we submit to them, going to be approved at that 1.5%, or will we have to go and issue general obligation bonds in the market, which will carry a higher interest rate? We have to think about that and try to project where that's going to go. What is the sewer assessment that we're going to charge in property owners as we begin putting sewers in front of homes? And what are the connection costs associated with those? And how are those connection costs going to be paid? There's a lot of different things that we have to consider. We don't have all the answers to them today, but these are all part of our planning that we're putting together that final plan that will be submitted in the fall. We're working on that over the summer. And so yeah, there's a lot of different things to consider. We can't, like I say, just tell everybody it's going to cost X amount of dollars for your project, because some projects are going to be more expensive than others. They're going to be harder to get to the homeowners in certain areas. They're going to be longer pipes that have to be put into certain neighborhoods, which is going to cost more money. The more pipe, the more money usually. And so there's a lot of different considerations that we have to think about. But if we can come up with a plan that kind of makes it somewhat predictable as to what somebody can estimate, that ultimately is what it's going to cost them. That's ultimately our goal, to make it somewhat predictable, understanding that there's a lot of different inputs that could change those numbers, and so we have to have some flexibility as well.
Right, and you don't really have that, whether it's assessment or betterment at this point, because you don't have the costs or the neighborhoods really, who's going first. And then there's also some partnerships out there as well, which may help the town gain federal dollars if we were out at the base, or some of the, joining forces with another town may allow us to defray some of those costs. Yeah,
it may allow us to become available, or opportunities for grants, especially from the federal government. With they keep talking about implementing a comprehensive infrastructure improvement program across the country, and if that happens, potentially with partnerships with other communities, making partnerships with other communities, make a grant application much stronger in the eyes of granting agencies like that. And so if we can come up with those agreements, perhaps some federal dollars could come our way to help with some of the cost of this program.
All right. And as you project out, we've talked about bond ratings and things like that over time, and you've talked about debt service. What does that kind of do to your 5-year plans and things like that? I know you've been planning for some of this, but now you're projecting a 20-year plan. How does that fit into that type of planning?
Well, this is a plan that is completely separate to our 5-year financial forecast, but but then what we'll do is we'll fold this into that 5-year financial forecast. But the plan that we're working on is not to impact the current general fund operating budget, unless a decision is made that this program, this comprehensive water management program, we should provide some kind of property tax contribution towards this program, under the theory that everyone benefits from clean water or cleaner water. And so if that decision is made, then yes, it will potentially impact the operating budget, could potentially impact the tax levy, the tax rate. For example, if we were to increase the tax rate by 10 cents, which would be about $1.4 million on a tax levy, that could go a long way to providing some working capital for this program and reduce assessments to property owners who are involved in this program. But that means everybody in town is paying something towards this program. And whether or not that is something that our community is willing to accept remains to be seen. So, but we have to have those conversations.
Right. And how do you want residents to kind of become involved in this process? I don't want to say that, you know, we've kicked the can down the road. We've not. We've done a lot of work, but the resident now really starts to become aware. When you start talking dollars, residents, their eyes open, their ears open, and they're really, you know, how do they start to grasp what's happening?
I think when the plan is filed with the DEP and that becomes available, that'll provide a lot of information for residents to understand what's going on. And when the shovels hit the ground, I think they'll become more involved as well. Right now, it's kind of, well, yeah, we know what's out there, but you know, there's not a lot of construction going on. But with this Vineyard Wind project coming up, we'll start seeing that. And I think more conversation will take place when those shovels hit the ground.
Right. Is there any question I didn't ask that you want to answer?
No. No, we just you know, like I said before, we need to provide some, we need to understand that this plan's evolving and it's going to change from year to year, at least the financing side of things and the technical side of things as well. Those, you know, technology improves over time. And especially, you know, inflationary costs and the bond market and all of those things impact what this thing is going to cost us down the road. So we have to understand that we can't provide the community a X number of dollars is going to be your contribution to this program because there's too many unknowns to do that. But what we can do is provide a framework that we're going to work within to provide the community that information as to what their estimated contribution could be under this program. So flexibility is going to be key, and understanding what it takes to, you know, put a program like this together. It's a long-range plan, so nobody can put those long-range plans in stone and say, this is it, this is what it's going to be. So that's what we're striving to develop, something along those lines.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Mark.
You bet. Yeah, thank you.
Vineyard Wind is holding office hours at the Centerville Public Library. These sessions are helping residents understand the project and timeline for the first large-scale offshore wind project in the United States.
What's been a challenge to get across to some degree is that, you know, we're a phone call away, we're an email away. We pass our information out, and we're always actually eager to hear questions and thoughts people have. Sometimes we get local insights that are that we didn't expect that actually, you know, make significant improvements to the project, and it's really been a community-based development in the sense that we're trying to do something that works for the community. Well, I think the first distinction, which comes at a surprise to a lot of people, this is not Cape Wind. So Cape Wind was proposed 20 years ago for Nantucket Sound. Significant viewshed impacts in many people's view, lacking the policy structure and framework that was necessary to pursue these big goals that we have of climate change and emissions reductions. So while the Cape Wind saga unfolded, the feds, the states, and the local towns even started to do the hard work to really have their input and plan out how these things would work. So a major distinction is we're about 15 miles south of the islands, about 35 miles south of Cape Cod. That area that we're in was selected through a multi-year stakeholder process led by the federal government, bringing in all interests to the table and determining the optimal places to put the energy infrastructure that we need to transition to a clean energy economy. That's the number one piece. And the number two piece, I think, it's important to know that every element of onshore and nearshore construction has been designed to minimize impact. The project will be nearly invisible at its conclusion. Most notably for Covell's Beach and the beachside area. Cape Cod lives and dies by its beaches. Horizontal directional drilling will put this cable so deep below the beach that it'll be out of the human environment permanently. It's about 30 feet below the beach at the tide line. That has a bunch of valuable purposes. Keeping it out of the human environment, ensuring long-term burial, also no disruption to the beach at the surface level. So there's sensitive species in the nearshore and onshore area. by drilling basically magically deep below the beach, the way it's been done at Woods Hole to lay the cables to power Martha's Vineyard, you virtually eliminate shoreside impacts to any kind of sensitive species. And the third major piece is off-season work. We're not going to be in people's hair when the traffic's already bad. That's been a major stipulation of Barnstable to ensure that we minimize disruption. The conversations we've been having with town council and with town staff over the better part of a year resulted in a host community agreement that's going to deliver tens of millions of dollars worth of revenue supports to the town to help solve some of the long-standing environmental problems that they see down the road. And it also has ensured a really special kind of collaboration. When you're talking about public works, you're talking about an infrastructure project. Knowing that on both sides of the table there are parties that are interested in working with each other and that benefit from working with each other, minimizing traffic impacts, maximizing the ability to co-locate utilities while we put our infrastructure in to save the town costs, to minimize the need for future road openings. It's been a really great case study in the way to work with communities, and we've been really proud of the relationship we have with Barnstable. Well, so Barnstable has a unique role in this, and in addition to the revenue supports that are coming with the project, and the things I mentioned, collaborating on some of the utility projects as best we can with public works in town to minimize costs, share resources. They'll be repaving. Koval's Beach is actually kind of a beat-up parking lot at the moment, and I know that the town has a really robust capital improvement plan. These things are on the list. They're probably a few years out, and they'll cost the town money to do. Repavement of the parking lot at conclusion, and then in addition to that, we're going to be supporting the reconstruction of the bathhouse there. So it's a bit of an enhancement to the beach experience. I think we wake up every morning hoping that the model for project development that brings all interests to the table and is honest and available and efficient is the number one thing we hope to set in this project. First and foremost, we need more energy resources in the region and the country. Secondly, we need renewable energy resources. And we need to work in those environments in a way that works for everyone. And if as our success builds, we hope that other than the finances and the engineering and all those other elements that are important, people understand that working with the communities that you work with is what builds the best project for everyone.
Saving money and energy. Dan SCHELL from Cape Light Compact joins us with some great incentives and rebates now available for the smart home. Saving money and saving energy go hand in hand at Cape Light Compact. With me today, Dan SCHELL from Cape Light Compact, and you're the marketing and communications coordinator.
I am.
And you really know how to communicate, how to save money and energy.
That's the hope, yeah. I hope that's
hope.
why I was hired.
Right. So there's lots of different ways that you can save money with Cape Light Compact. Mm-hmm. So give us a quick overview of some of the things we'll talk about today.
Yeah, so I think our bread and butter and what people know us best for is our home energy assessment, where we come out, we do things like check your housing envelope to see where you could have additional weatherization or insulation added. We check your heating and cooling equipment to see where we can add efficiency there. But we also have a lighting and products component of our programs, which don't require anyone to come out to your house. We just offer rebates and incentives on a lot of energy efficient products, where you can just purchase these either from, we have our own website, but you can also go into stores and get the rebates through there as well.
So what are we going to talk about today? You've brought props.
I did. So I brought a few things, and so I figured what we'd start off talking about is the smart thermostats. So these are sort of the hot ticket item right now.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about them.
Yeah, so back in the day, you just used to have your regular old thermostat, and that you would just set at a temperature and forget it. But the issue with that is that if you're not there, you're kind of wasting electricity. So then people started to transition to the programmable thermostats. But now with technology, we've got sort of the Wi-Fi smart-enabled thermostats. And this one that I have here is the Nest Learning Thermostat, which can actually learn your habits and when you're home, when you're not home, and what your preferences are for temperature. And it can automatically adjust to those settings. Okay. It also has sort of smart functionality so that it can connect to an app on your phone, and also integrates with your Alexa or Google Home, so you can have voice control as well.
Wow, that's awesome. So you could say, Alexa, turn on my heat?
Exactly. Turn it
Wow.
up, turn it down. It also, because it integrates with your phone, you can do what's called geofencing around your house. So using the location services on your phone, you can basically let it know when you're coming home and when you're leaving, and it'll automatically go down to a set point, which is going to really give you some savings. And Nest claims, and I think that this has been verified, that it'll help you save 10 to 15% on heating and cooling costs.
Now, is that just if you didn't have a programmable, or is this in addition to having a programmable?
It'd be on top of not having a programmable,
Okay.
but even with a programmable, because it's so customizable, you're still going to get additional savings.
Wow.
And the great thing about this is that at Cape Lake Compact, these retail for around $250, and right now they're down to $124. Traditionally, we offer a $100 rebate on these, which you can get instantly from the Mass Save store. But right now, there's currently a Father's Day special, so it's an additional $30 off.
Wow, excellent. That's maybe a good gift for Father's Day.
I think
then,
so.
right?
Yep. And we've got other versions on there as well. The Ecobee is another one.
Okay.
Honeywell are sort of the Nest, Honeywell, and Ecobee are the three big ones.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. What a great product.
It is.
And then those strips. Now, we have
Yes.
one of these for our entertainment area in our home, and they really do work.
Yeah, they're great. So this is the Trickle Star. There's two different styles of these. We call them Tier 1 and Tier 2 advanced power strips. So you'll see on this one, there's three different sections of switches. So you've got always on. So these would be perfect for either a computer system or a home entertainment system where you've got a lot of peripheral equipment. So your always on would be something like a light that you want to have that manual control of. But then you've got your control switch, which is usually going to be either your CPU if you're using it for a computer system, or your TV. And that's really kind of the main piece of equipment. And then all your peripherals would be these green switches, which the goal here is to kind of reduce that thing called vampire load.
Right.
So all those other peripherals are sucking energy even when they're not being used. So by doing this, you're cutting off electricity if the control switch isn't on. But once it's on, you're able to use all your other peripherals. So it's great with a computer. If you have a printer, a monitor, it'll kick all those off if the CPU's not on. Same with the TV. If you kick that off, your surround sound, gaming systems, DVD, Blu-ray player, all of that stuff.
And they really do. Well, talk a little bit about this vampire energy, because we have noticed a significant difference. We had a little app back in the day that measured our energy usage, and when you turn some of these devices off completely, there's quite a bit of savings.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of appliances have that vampire load, which can be things anything from like just an LED light, the infrared sensor for a remote. All of those things are on 24/7 unless you kick off the electricity from sort of the access point.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what else do we have today?
So those are the two props that I brought with us, but we do have a lot of other things. If you go on our website, we do have our Hit Nifty flyer that has all of the rebates that we offer. A lot of these are going to be on heating and cooling equipment, but with sort of hopefully summer weather is coming, even though it's pouring out today. We do have a $40 rebate on Energy Star air cleaners, a $30 rebate on dehumidifiers, and a $50 rebate on electric dryers. So especially with the dehumidifiers and the room air cleaners, as pollen's out there and the humidity, that's a great opportunity to upgrade to something that, if you have an older version, is probably consuming a lot of electricity.
Right. And you have some of these dehumidifier turn-on events on occasion too, right?
Exactly, yeah. We've actually got 3 scheduled for the summer so far. We might add a few more. But we've got one June 15th at Mid-Cape Home Center in South Dennis, June 20th at Crane Appliance in Falmouth, and then June 27th at Crane Appliance in Orleans. And the great thing about that is you just bring in up to 2 dehumidifiers, and then you'll receive a $30 rebate per dehumidifier that you turn in. So we're paying you to turn it in. It's a great deal. Yeah.
Excellent. And I think there's that refrigerator one still out there too, right?
Exactly, yeah. So we also do a refrigerator turn-in. We've now partnered with Home Depot as well. So if you purchase a refrigerator from Home Depot, they'll set you up with Mass Save to come and collect that. And right now it's a $75 rebate.
Wow.
But a little secret, in July through September, it's going to kick up to $100. So if you're looking to get rid of an old refrigerator or freezer that's been consuming a lot of electricity, that's going to be the time to do it. $100. We'll come and pick it up, and you don't have to worry about anything.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? And those old devices, there's been so much technology advances in electronic devices recently that the humidifiers and the refrigerators are definitely worth the upgrade.
Absolutely. Those things that are constantly running, as much as you can get something that's energy efficient, you're really going to see savings on your electric bill.
Fantastic. Any last words for folks?
No, I think that's it. Like I said, check us out on capelightcompact.org. You can find our Mass Save store there where you can purchase both of these items as well as our residential rebates.
Fantastic.
Great.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Paul.
Up next, things to do, places to go, and people to meet. The third annual Discover Barnstable program starts today. Backed by popular demand and now expanded to 3 days a week at Bismore Park and the Hyannis Harbor Overlook. The Gateway Greeter program, Discover Barnstable, has once again partnered with various town departments in developing fun, free interactive talks and activities in July and August. Families are invited to participate in a wide variety of organized and educational activities exploring services and programs, which enhances our quality of life and supports the needs of our community. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at Bismore Park and the Harbor Overlook, 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. Check out the schedule at the town's website, www.townofbarnstable.us. Comments, suggestions, accolades, connect with us on Facebook, email us, or send us an old-fashioned note by carrier pigeon. Channel 18 works for you. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.